Maybe you've bought or sold something online before, used furniture, an old gadget, a quick meetup around dusk. It seems harmless enough. But on the other side of the screen, someone might be watching. The stories you're about to hear all began with what looked like normal transactions on Facebook Marketplace. But as night fell, they turned into something else entirely. Moments that would haunt those involved forever. These are 3 true stories about traps set in plain sight, and the people who were waiting in the dark. Story 1. The man behind the wall. When I first moved out of my parents' house to live on my own, I realized I had way too much old stuff I didn't need anymore. Instead of cluttering up my new apartment, I listed it on Facebook Marketplace. The most valuable thing I had was an old weight set barbell bench plates. I listed it for $340. At first, only a few people messaged still available, and then vanished. Then came a message from someone named Joe. His profile photo was blurry, a man in a fishing hat holding a big fish. The account was private, no posts, no info. But we had 3 mutual friends, girls from my old hometown. One of them had dated a guy I vaguely remembered, Joe the fishing guy, so I assumed it was him. He didn't try to negotiate. No weird questions. Just said he'd pick it up at 11 p.m. because he was getting off a late shift. It was late, but I just wanted the thing gone, so I agreed. Right before we finalized, I casually asked, "Did you used to date Gina?" He started typing. Stopped. Typed again. Then finally just sent one word. "Yeah." And nothing else. Close to 11, I hadn't seen anyone yet. The last message said, "I'm here." I looked out the window. A dark car parked on the side of the street. Lights off. I messaged, "Come in. I'll need help lifting the weights." But he replied with something that made my skin crawl. "Hold on. Gotta see if you're honest first." I froze. I called, declined. Then another message, "Come outside. Now." It didn't sound like the Joe I remembered. The tone was aggressive, wrong. A wave of dread hit me. I opened Facebook and messaged Angela, one of our 3 mutual friends. She replied almost instantly, "OMG, that's not Joe. That account used to have a different name before it was changed. Something's off." I turned off all the lights, slowly peeked through the curtain, and my heart stopped. There was someone crouched in the bushes by my porch. A low figure hunched, holding something, maybe a pipe, or something worse. I stood completely still, trying not to breathe too loud. Then a car horn blasted short and sharp. The figure bolted from the bushes, jumped into the parked car, and both were gone. I didn't feel relief. I felt violated. They knew where I lived. The next morning, the Joe account was gone from Facebook. I thought it was over. Until I got a text from an unknown number. "Yo, asshole. You think you got away? Stop creeping on my girl. I know where you live. Sleep with one eye open. I'm always outside your house." I brought the message to the police. They took a report but didn't do much else. A low-priority harassment case, they said. I don't know what I did wrong. I never tried to reach out to anyone's girlfriend. I barely even knew the guy. But since that night, I live with the feeling that someone might be outside my window. I lock every door, check the curtains before leaving, and I jump at every sound in the dark. No one knows what would have happened if I'd opened that door. But I know one thing for sure. I was very, very lucky. Story 2. The Midnight Setup. Back in 2018, I secretly tried to sell an old pinball machine from my parents' attic. It was something we used to play with as kids, but it had been gathering dust for years. My family was away on vacation, and I figured I'd sell it without splitting the money. At the time, I thought I was clever. Looking back, I almost made a mistake I'd never recover from. A Facebook account named Jasmine messaged me a few hours after I listed it. No profile photo, but she texted politely. She bargained down to $175. I agreed. We arranged a meetup that night. She said she'd come around 11 p.m., but kept messaging. I'm on my way. Almost there over and over for the next hour. I finally texted, "It's late, can we do this tomorrow?" But she insisted, said she was already nearby. At 11:45 p.m., I looked outside and saw a car parked across the street. But what made my stomach drop? All 4 doors opened at once. 3 men and 1 woman stepped out, all dressed in dark clothing, walking quickly toward my front steps. I messaged, "Who are you bringing with you?" No reply. I locked the door, turned on the porch light to get a better view. When they reached the door, the woman said calmly, "Open up. It's no big deal." I lied and said my parents were asleep, so I couldn't let anyone in. Then Jasmine snapped. She slammed her hand against the glass and screamed, "You wasting my time, huh?" The men started laughing. One of them kicked the front step hard. I couldn't breathe. I just stood frozen, barely daring to blink. Eventually they turned away, still laughing, still cursing. One guy stood in the driveway and pissed right in front of the garage. Only when their car pulled away did I exhale. I slowly made my way upstairs, checked the locks, and collapsed into bed, heart still racing. But minutes later, crash. The sound of breaking glass from downstairs. They came back. I didn't turn on any lights. I crept to the door, still locked. Then crawled under the bed, clutching my phone, hands shaking as I whispered to 911. While I was on the call, I heard footsteps, heavy, fast, climbing the stairs. I held my breath, heard a cabinet open, a doorknob turn in the next room, but no one came into mine. Within minutes, they were gone. Police arrived 20 minutes later, but the damage was done. They'd busted the back door, smashed a window, ransacked the downstairs. But strangely, the pinball machine was untouched. The next day I went to the station. I lied, saying one of them had threatened me with violence because I knew they wouldn't act unless there was a clear danger. It worked. Police traced the Jasmine account's IP. They found the woman living in a sketchy neighborhood a few towns over. Inside her place were dozens of stolen items, including some from my own home. She was arrested. The 3 men were charged with breaking and entering. My family found out later. They were furious. Eventually, they forgave me. I never used Facebook Marketplace again. And now, every night before bed, I check the windows twice and lock the doors 3 times. Story 3. The Trap in the Woods. I was looking to buy a used iPhone off Facebook Marketplace. A guy named Melvin was selling one crazy cheap $300. Said it was brand new and the box never activated. Even sent a video of the sealed packaging. Sounded legit. He suggested meeting at the parking lot of a police station an hour's drive away. Said it'd be safe for both sides. I agreed. I brought my friend Martina along. She only said yes if I promised her dinner. We got there around 9 p.m. The lot was empty except for a few idle patrol cars. No sign of Melvin. I called, he picked up. Said he was stuck on a nearby forest road and needed help jumping his car. Said he had cables, just needed a car battery. I hesitated. It sounded shady, but I figured we came all this way. I told Martina we'd drive past and check. We turned onto a narrow road surrounded by woods. Pitch black. Then we saw it. A black car pulled over. Headlights aimed into the trees, but no one was inside. No one standing nearby. Martina whispered, "Don't stop." I listened. As we drove past, my phone lit up message from Melvin, "I saw your car. Why didn't you stop?" We didn't reply. We drove straight to a diner and ordered coffee. Then, a man walked in. Dirty hoodie. Hood up. He sat at the bar, glanced our way, then spoke. "Thanks, babe." His voice was exactly like Melvin on the phone. I quietly asked for the bill. Martina stood up and he did too. He followed us toward the door. I dove into the car and locked it. We sped off, leaving the diner's flickering lights behind. On the freeway, my car's tire pressure warning came on. The pressure dropped fast. We had to pull over. I checked, the tire had been slashed. No way it happened just now. I changed it in the dark, hands shaking. When we got back in the car, I checked my phone. One new text. From an unknown number. "Not very smart, are you? Don't come back here again." Martina now calls it the most dangerous phone deal ever. Me, I just know that a trap was set. And we barely, just barely, walked away. In a world where every transaction is just a message away, the line between convenient and dangerous is starting to blur. Not everyone is who they seem online, and not every meetup ends with a handshake. You might be next, or maybe you've already stood at the edge of a trap and didn't even realize it. Thanks for watching. Stay alert, because sometimes the scariest things don't come from the dark, they come from the screen.